Yeah, hi. Yeah, this will be a short presentation about the MorphOS operating system and the hardware we run on and some of the software that you can run on MorphOS. Um, yeah, more or less, I'll go through the history of the OS, yeah, the supported hardware, the Mirari, which is our latest hardware entry, which you can see here. A little bit of the software, some highlights, essentially. Um, just a few words about me. My name is Jacek Piszczek. I've been a MorphOS developer since like 2001, so a pretty long time. I've started programming on the Amiga first, and then quickly switched to MorphOS once it came out on the um, Blizzard PowerPC. Yeah. What is MorphOS? It's a compact, lightweight operating system for the PowerPC processor, based on a custom microkernel. So we're unlike other Amiga solutions recently, we're not like based on Linux kernel or anything like that. Um, yeah, everything's written in PowerPC assembly, C, C++, Objective-C, plus some other minor things in other languages. Yeah, we grew from the Amiga OS 3.1 compatibility. Like the earliest versions actually even needed the Amiga OS ROM to start, so we didn't have a full replacement for the OS. Um, but we quite quickly got that done. Yeah, we've got a fully customizable UI based on the magical user interface now known from the Amiga OS, which is like fairly standard there. Um, and yeah, while trying to stay compatible with Amiga OS, we're trying to modernize everything as much as we can to be able to do, well, things that you normally want to do on your desktop computer. That's like fairly recent, right? So we're not focused on retro, we're focused on the current stuff that you would expect from a computer. Um, yeah, and our licensing model, it's shareware, so you get to download a demo that runs for 30 minutes, and after that you have to reboot. And once you register, that limitation is gone. Um, yeah, so a brief history. It started off in 1999 on the classic Amiga with PowerPC accelerator. Um, this was actually started off by Ralph Schmidt, who's worked for Phase 5 on the PowerPC accelerators and other cards. And yeah, like I've mentioned, the early beta versions require the Amiga ROM to work, because we've had like replacement for the exec library, but for example, all of the UI libraries had to be still taken from Amiga OS. But this just shows how compatible everything is. Then when we jumped to version 1, we basically by that time did not need the Amiga ROM anymore. We had a full replacement for everything. And that shipped with a B-Plan Pegasus 1 and 2 computers. And that version was basically bundled with the hardware, so slightly different licensing model. But that was a long, long time ago. Those boards are not being produced anymore. Um, then, yeah, we went shareware in version 2.0 in 2008. And from 2009, we started adding support for Apple PowerPC Macs, which by then had been abandoned by Apple after their switch to Intel. Yeah, we've started with the Mac Mini, which is by far our most popular hardware, I think. Um, it's a very nice box, and for a long time it was possible to buy them really cheap. Then yeah, we've added PowerBook support in 2012, and the latest public release happened at the beginning of this year. So yeah, just to reiterate the supported hardware. Again, the Mac Mini G4, all of the models that Apple made of the Mac Mini G4 are supported. There's basically support for every bit of hardware apart from Bluetooth and the modem, if anyone wants them. The PowerBook G4, all of the aluminum models are supported as long as they come with the Radeon graphics chip, because we don't have any drivers for NVIDIA, which means that the 14 and 16-inch models are mostly supported. Basically, again, only Bluetooth doesn't work. So there's Wi-Fi and all of that stuff like backlight control and so on. There's also a lot of the minor stuff like eMac or Cube that's also supported. A nice highlight is an iMac G5 because it's in a very sweet spot where it doesn't consume as much power as the big G5 tower, while they're delivering pretty good performance. So select models are supported, the ones with the iSight camera all work. Some of them had an NVIDIA chip, unfortunately. So yeah, as I've mentioned earlier, the B-Plan, Pegasus, and Effica computers are also supported. These are super hard to buy these days. There's the SAM 460 and X5000 as well. There used to be a public version for the Amiga 1200 and 4000 with the right accelerator boards, but we haven't done an update on that for quite some time. There's a full list of supported hardware on our website, which I would advise anyone to check before buying anything if you want to try it out. But if you do have an old Mac somewhere at your home, I do encourage you to try MorphOS. It will show you that it's still a usable piece of hardware, like compared to Mac OS, which would be super outdated by now. But yeah, the hardware situation used to be like, well, there's nothing being produced anymore. However, this has recently, well, started changing. So yeah, enter the Mirari. That's a completely new board that's just been designed and the first prototypes produced. This is one of the 30 prototypes that exist, as far as I know. So yeah, that's a NXP T1042 processor with 4 cores. It's nominally 1.4 gigahertz, but you can overclock it without any problems to 1.6. That's actually done from the U-Boot menu. It takes a standard DDR free SODIMM. Comes with 3 PCI Express slots. One is like full size for a graphics card, and there's 2 smaller ones. Sorry. There's 2 M2 NVMe ports, which is like super nice. There's SATA. 10 USB ports, some are 3.0, some are 2.0, and there's analog audio and digital audio out. And it's basically a small micro ATX form factor. So again, these are just still prototypes. I cannot announce any time frame because I'm not affiliated with the people who design it. But yeah, there's new exciting things happening, like daily updates. There's new drivers being added. So by now, MorphOS only needs an audio driver, I think, for all of the peripherals and USB free. Yeah. So just to give you a timeline and show some photos of that stuff, because that timeline I think is super impressive, especially if you know the Amiga history of timelines. So yeah, the design started May last year, and yeah, by December there was already a working prototype, which is like super impressive. And by January this year, Linux was already working on the board with all of the peripherals and so on working. And then in May, one of the MorphOS programmers got the first board and basically was able to get the OS running in a couple of days. So like, again, not everything is working just yet, but just recently an NVMe driver was added. just literally, I think yesterday, an Ethernet driver was added. I'm still using a PCI Express card here because I didn't want to mess with that stuff just before the presentation. It's best not to touch a working system at that point. Sorry. But yeah, again, I think it's just the audio that's like needed to make almost everything work here. Okay, so that's the Mirari. Just a few words about the software. There's both first-party software that comes with the OS, and there's quite a bit of that. But it's like hard to showcase your standard utilities that you need to have to be able to operate your operating system. So I'll just show a couple of highlights here. The first one would be Wayfarer web browser. So that's a modern web browser based on Reset WebKit. So it's basically the same engine that's in the latest Safari. Of course, it doesn't support everything that Safari would, but still it's the same core. So most websites just work. Yeah, there's been 11 major releases since 2020, mostly to show that we can stay up to date. And I can tell you that WebKit internally changes a lot between releases. So sometimes it's quite a bit of work to get it going again. The nice part is that I'm actually receiving some support from people working on WebKit GTK these days. So it's nice. But yeah, latest version is just based off the WebKit GTK 3 released last month. So again, super up to date. Yeah, the browser can play audio and video with our custom player. It has a built-in ad blocker, which helps quite a bit, especially on busy sites. So I'm gonna do a short live demo of that. Let's hope the internet works right. Okay. Just to show you that it's good enough to show YouTube, this is the mobile version of YouTube. So that's a little faster than the desktop one. Let's try to play a video. An old Amiga demo. Here's to hoping nothing crashes. Yeah, so the load times could be better, but I'm on the tethering from the phone. And it's only 2 bars, unfortunately. But yeah, it's working. Anyway, so there's YouTube. Most of the time it just works. There's sometimes some hiccups. YouTube is super complicated and keeps changing stuff a lot. So just staying on top just to make the player good enough for YouTube to work properly, that's sometimes quite a bit of work. But yeah, we release the updates quite frequently to make sure that it's all working. But it's not just the browser that makes the OS. So yeah, let's switch back to the presentation. I actually wanted to talk about the SDK, which enables us to create, well, things like a browser, for example, or an email client, which I will talk about in a moment. So we do have a fairly modern SDK with the latest GCC 15, although we use 9 for most parts. The web browser needs at least 12 right now. So we do have, yeah, a ton of those utils. The latest SDK, which is due to come out probably with the next OS update, contains the latest Python free. Pip works, so you can install a ton of Python stuff. And yeah, there's CMake, GDB, Git, and all of the standard utils you would expect to have on Linux. But these are all our ports. So a lot of efforts made to make this stuff work. There's an IDE with syntax highlight, which I can show you. So yeah, if you're a programmer, it's quite handy. I actually spend a lot of time using this stuff. So I code on MorphOS when I can. I cannot compile the web browser on MorphOS, that would be too slow, but I do all other work on MorphOS. So yeah, there's syntax highlight, there's easy to access documentation in our IDE. It has a debugger. It can compile from the IDE itself and so on. So that's a very important part of our SDK because it enables us to actually work on stuff. But the fact that we have Python now actually means that we can do something like that. I can grab the link to the video and use the standard Python YouTube downloader to download the video. Let me just sanitize the URL. Ooh, too much. Let's try that. We're still hoping it works with the connection. But yeah, YTDLP is a state-of-the-art Python-based downloader for YouTube. So if you want to make a local copy of a video you find there, and not just YouTube, it handles a lot of other websites. Yeah, if you want to make a copy to keep on your drive, you can just use that. That's the go-to tool on Linux, for example. But yeah, thanks to the inclusion of Python 3, we now can use that stuff as well. Let's wait a bit, give it a chance to download it, so I can show it working too. So yeah, SDK comes with as a separate download. It's for free, of course. And we try to do our best to support any third-party programmers. I will talk a little bit of about third-party software in a moment as well. Almost done. So it's downloaded the video. Now it's getting the audio stream and it's gonna pack them into one file. So I can try to play it. Oh, it's done. So the same demo that I just showed you in the web browser is now playing locally from a file. So yeah, that's something that will be possible with the next OS update when the SDK comes out.
Is there an easier interface for that, or do you have to just do it from the shell?
No, it would. It's possible to add one, yeah, I guess. But you do have to install the SDK, which is like a 2 GB download and stuff. So yeah, this is like tightly integrated into Python. So you need Python, and then you need all of the dependencies and so on. So it's a big package that you have to download. So yeah, likely it would be kind of pointless to write a UI for that. Okay, let's go back here. So yeah, that's the SDK. Next highlight would be the email client, Iris. So this is an IMAP client with support for OAuth 2 authentication for Gmail, Yahoo, and Outlook. So it just works. You go on the standard login website like you would in any other modern email client. You don't have to downgrade your security in Gmail and so on to be able to access that. It uses the same HTML engine as the web browser, which makes it possible to display the HTML emails and create them as well. There's a bundled contacts application. Hopefully in the future there will be a calendar as well. It's massively multi-threaded, so it doesn't really lock the UI doing any magic. I'll just quickly show it too. do have some test account hooked up here that I've asked people to subscribe me to any advertisements they could find. So I get a ton of emails here, which is a great test. But yeah, as you can see, it's fairly decent speed-wise. The images have to be downloaded from the net, obviously. But yeah, it can cache the emails locally, so you can read them offline as well. There's a ton of security and other settings and so on, spell checking when you're creating emails. So all of their essentials are covered. There's no Outlook support per se, but all of the IMAP stuff is working. So one third-party software that I wanted to highlight because I think it's great is Hollywood. Hollywood is essentially a programming language that's targeted for creating multimedia-oriented applications. It can be used to create games and apps, but initially it was for making presentations mostly. It has its own designer app, so you can edit your presentations or games in a what you see, what you get manner. And the cool part is that once you do have it all working, be it a presentation or an app or whatever, or some web form that you would like to use, you can just click and create an Android or iOS app for it. It handles a lot of targets. Yeah, you can buy it from hollywoodmall.com. Just to show you a couple of screenshots. So yeah, you basically get a designer app where you can prepare your presentation. So it's a little bit like PowerPoint, but it's more like programming oriented. And currently, because it can also create applications with native UI, there's quite a few people that create third-party apps using that stuff because it's easier to do than just doing stuff in C because you've got all of the dependencies taken care of. This thing can basically, you know, render text for you, or it can play a video file, or it can load your images, and you don't have to really worry about all of the gruesome internals of doing all that stuff manually in your own code. So yeah, that's a very important highlight, I think. And yeah, there's a ton more third-party software. There's of course 3D games. Tons of ports are being added every day, really. So two biggest sources are MorphOS storage and Aminet, which like some of you might know from the Amiga software. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
So compatibility.
Yes.
Compatibility back to Amiga OS apps.
Yeah.
Talk to me a bit about that.
Basically, again, the base API is fully compatible with Amiga OS 3.1 with some add-ons from 3.9. So if an app was written for the Amiga and it doesn't specifically require the Amiga chips, it's going to work as is. So if it works on your CyberGraphics video card, then it's most likely to work on MorphOS as is. Some software has issues, like there's, you know, sometimes a software tries to access the mouse through the Amiga register, even though it shouldn't. So those things sometimes need to be patched, but if you look, there's for the
I'm thinking something like
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, that works.
And is there any other supporting software underneath, or it should just run?
It normally should just run. There's the bigger apps sometimes have some hiccups, but it's usually like you go on the forums and it's like, oh, the installer copies one file to the wrong location, and but it's the same on Amiga. Like, you know, it's been 20 plus years since those apps were written, and things have changed. So yeah, sometimes you have to fiddle a bit to get things working, but yeah, they do work. No, definitely not. We do emulate the Amiga CPU, the 68000. Um, there's a JIT emulator, so it's very fast. So even back when MorphOS ran on the classic Amiga with a Cyberstorm or a Blizzard Power PC, the Amiga software run faster emulated on MorphOS than if you would run it on the other CPU on that Blizzard card. Um, so yeah, that really kind of make the Power PC in that card finally made sense with the MorphOS, because on Warp Up or Power Up you could never fully use the Power PC CPU.
One more.
Sure.
A fellow there had it running on a Power Mac 11 too.
Yeah.
Looking over the compatibility,
Yes.
it's not updated on the website.
It should. Yeah.
There's the hint.
I think it should be there. If it's not, then we need to update it. Yeah, it's not 100% supported because we don't have a driver for the Ethernet, so you have to have it on a PCI Express card. Yeah. The annoying bit is that this is the only Mac that has a completely different network chip than all the others. So, for Mac that actually doesn't have that many users, that's a lot of work just to support that when you can spend $5 on a PCI Express card. Um, yeah. And it's all PCI Express slots, so again, you can easily buy the hardware. Yeah, you don't have to look for anything like super old or anything like that.
So what is you're showing it on this?
Yeah, that's a Mirari. Yeah.
So what would you suggest is the ultimate hardware to run MorphOS on?
If you want the fastest, then you have to go with the PowerMac G5. Now let's go back here to those photos.
You're saying dual support, dual CPU support?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, because Amiga OS was not designed with multi-core in mind, nobody's managed to do that, even though there were multiple attempts. Um, I mean, it would be doable if we were to say, well, the hell with compatibility, right? Let's just cut everything out and start from scratch. Sure, you can do that, but unfortunately, if you want to stay compatible with the Amiga OS software, you cannot really do proper multi-core. So because of that makes the PowerMac G5 really shine because it is the fastest CPU. This isn't as fast. This is more like a PowerBook G4 tier, which is still decent. The main thing would be that your PowerMac G5 would draw at least 200 watts, and this will draw 15. So small difference. I mean, if you're in a tiny room that heats up really fast, like my office, for example, that is a difference.
So you don't care about the price of electricity,
Yep.
either?
Yep.
Yeah, and also I will say I've run it on a 2.5 like Chris Edwards, the one he has. I had the exact system. I also have well I sold it, but I had a 2.7 to the 2.7 for a lot of things. That 200 megahertz does make a little bit of a difference. Because the 200 megahertz is 200 megahertz, but as far as cooling and just if you watch Chris's video about what he did to that machine, it explains why you want to get the PCIe. Although the video card is going to be harder to track down because those are a little bit, yeah.
I actually bought two here.
Here?
Yeah.
Really? I'm gonna go talk to you.
Yeah.
I'll just make a comment real quick to
Yeah.
support you, Jack. First of all, I run my entire business on MorphOS except for probably about 10%. And their software, if you really get into it, I've been an Amiga user for many years, but when he shows you Iris, he doesn't tell you it does meetings, it does meeting cancellations. You can have unlimited thing, and you can run it. You can set it up and run it against Outlook, and it does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, and they also have programs like Palyorga, which is really a full CRM system. It does so much with the native applications. That's really where MorphOS shines. And you can go buy a $200 Power PC and you're up and going. And if you do run something like TV Paint, Photogenic or Artifacts or anything else,
Yep.
it all runs. You just click the just in time, just executes it. So it's quite a. These guys did a great job.
So what's that 10%? And did anyone
Zoom is one.
Yeah,
Obviously, I
that
Zoom
would be a
over.
problem.
Yeah, RDP. Thanks to him doing cell basics, I used to use the Open Office, so now I'm using cell basics to do the spreadsheet side. So really,
Wow.
it's Zoom and and certain applications that are Windows driven that I can't do, but I'll RDP into them and run, the software and do whatever. But
Yeah.
that's it. Everything else is all on MorphOS. Which, if you look at the Amiga, I tried it on the Amiga, every flip and everything else, it's not even close. I mean, honestly, you really get into it.
Well, we've
there's
got
so much.
UTF text encoding in most of the applications by now, right? So international stuff, it just works. You wouldn't be able to do it on Amiga for many reasons, RAM being one, the speed being the other, and so on and so on. And you have to keep a lot of the OS modernized to actually enable UTF. It was quite a bit of work. Yeah, just quickly, this is the spreadsheet that I'm currently working on. Still a very early beta, but it handles XLSX files by. Sorry? No! Unfortunately, no. And it's because the open source loader for XLSX that I found and started using doesn't handle that. I'm hoping they will add it soon because it's on the list of their to do. So yeah, eventually. But yeah, right now I'm mostly focusing on just getting all of the function syntax working fully and implementing all of the Excel functions, apart from like a few that are like super weird or obsolete and so on. But yeah, it's coming along. It's 1 year that I'm working on this project so far. We'll see. Yeah, sure. With the right card, there's well, you can actually do more if you really knew what you're doing. But yeah, 2 monitors can be handled easily these days. Yeah, with the right card, yeah, that would work. Like,
the newest version, you want to talk about 3.2 and how, you've been doing some
well, I
improvements there.
can't really demo that here because I only have one display, right? So it's a little hard to say, but yeah, I am trying to focus a little bit on improving the dual monitor support. So ideally, by the time I'm done, you'll be able to drag windows between them and so on. But so far, I'm just. I don't actually have the image here. I only brought the one for the Mirari. Uh, Sorry. Yeah. But sooner or later, like hopefully sooner than later, we'll have the next version out. Yeah.
If I may,
Sure.
licensing. You
Yes.
understand license goes to a machine.
Yeah.
Can you talk about with the machine guys, how you work that out?
Basically, you get a new machine, fill out the registration form, tell us that your previous machine has died, and we will issue a new key for free. And the old one will be invalidated, so the next version won't work with it anymore, even if you try to cheat. Um, but yeah, like we try to be, like understanding. Like we wouldn't issue you a new key if you just told us, oh yeah, I want to upgrade to the Mirari I just bought, right? And I don't want my Power Mac anymore. Uh, but well, that would, if you try that, you could still get a key. It would stop working on the other hardware. So I think, even though it's bound to your hardware, I think it's a fair approach. Um, and yeah.
So there is a way to deal with the dead machine.
Yes. Yes, it's not a problem. Like we know it happens. Like if you have a Mac, it's old, right? It's gonna be 20 years old now. Yeah. Well, we're on IRC or Discord, so you can just poke a developer if you go on the right channels, and we can always help too. Sure.
Sorry, I was late, but how do you have this running? Is it on a virtual machine or is it a?
No. This is actual PowerPC hardware here.
PowerPC
Yeah.
hardware? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it, so I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, that's this board here.
Okay.
Yeah.
The processor on it. You
Yeah.
said it was like QOC, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a power architecture, 64-bit.
New processor.
Well, new relatively, yeah, but it's still like a supported. You can buy them normally, right? So yeah, and again, 4 cores. There's the motherboard is electrically compatible with a higher tier CPU as well. So eventually, if this one's a success, I hope it is, we might get a faster version as well with more cores, I think, and an Ultivec unit. So that should be even better. But yeah, this still is a fairly usable machine here. Sure.
Question about the Mirari board. I know that you're not directly involved.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of when it might be released? Is it like a Kickstarter? I'm just not familiar with it.
I don't honestly know. So far, what I can tell you, what's been like said publicly, is that they had 2 prototype runs. So first batch was like 5 units, then they've done 25, and they still have to figure out why not all of them work. They were lucky with the first batch because all of the first 5 ones worked. From the second batch, not all of the boards work, so they have to figure out, how many dead boards can they expect when they do a larger run and so on. So that's gonna impact the price and so on. And meanwhile, they're still adding the drivers. As far as I know, some Amiga OS 4 developers got a board as well. So that's also a target. And yeah, but the engineer who did the electrical design and so on, he's also writing some of the drivers for it, like the NVMe or Ethernet, uh, which again were just added to MorphOS like within the last couple of days. So it's all still a little fluid, but yeah, like as you can see, I haven't managed to crash it, so yeah. But it's all scripted, Yeah. I know what to click.
Can I ask a personal question? How long have you been involved with MorphOS? Because
Yeah,
I know there's guys in Germany and there's guys here. And guys have, how did it all come together for you to be in a team, and how do you work with everybody to get the
you know what?
data
It
done?
kind of started with me, like first getting the PowerPC Blizzard in my Amiga, right? So I actually, when I bought the 1200, that was with the Blizzard PowerPC. And as soon as I got the Vision, which was a requirement for MorphOS, I was like, yeah, let's give it a try. And okay, it worked. It was cool. That was like, it was 0.3 back then, so like super early beta version. And by the time I was doing some software for the Amiga, which was called Rec Attack, so like software to patch the looks of system requesters, I was like, yeah, why not talk to those guys, see if I can make a MorphOS version, if they want it included in the OS. And I started chatting to Ralph Schmidt, which was the main architect of the OS. He was like, yeah, okay, here's the source code for our Intuition library, and you can just start messing with it. And so I kind of did. I didn't even really know C much back then, but I kind of learned while doing. And yeah, I started messing with stuff. I was able to demonstrate that, okay, I can do this thing. And so I kind of got included into the team somehow. Yeah, and that's how it worked. But programming is my hobby. It's work too, like commercial work, but it's a hobby, and I like doing that. It's a nice challenge, and being able to do something that's like completely different than the work I do during the day, that keeps me in shape. Definitely, because I can again try technologies that I just want to try, right? Um, while at work, I have to focus on this one thing at a time and so on. So yeah, that's why I stuck with MorphOS, I guess. Okay. If there's no more questions, then thank you very much.